Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I paint a simple watercolor autumn landscape using a limited color palette. And this is easy and I hope you will like the outcome. For more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. Let's begin. I will use my photo as a reference. I like how the trees in the foreground create a beautiful diagonal that will help to add depth to the painting. Also, I will be focusing on creating reflections on the water. If you want to see my real-time videos with my voice cover, please welcome to join my Patreon. You can find the link in my description box. First, what I'm going to do is make the paper a little bit wet. Here I'm using a small 12-color watercolor set from Winsor & Newton. I'm mixing a warm green color for the distant bushes. There is already a red green color in my watercolor paint set, but it's also a natural and bright, so I need to mix it with the other colors. I take a little bit of Sap Green color and mix it with Cadmium Yellow and Cadmium Red. Using the same brush, I paint distant trees in the background. I add some Ultramarine Blue to make the green color a little bit colder and create depth in the background. More yellow, and I'm adding some Alizarin Crimson for the next group of trees. I try to vary the green color by adding a little bit of yellow, Ultramarine Blue or Alizarin Crimson. As the paper is still wet, the colors mix themselves on the paper, creating beautiful color transitions. I add more Ultramarine Blue to the mixture. And paint the dark path under the bridge. My brush has a thin tip, so it's very convenient to paint not only the big areas, but also the details. The paper is still wet. Now, using the same color mixture, but with a little bit more water, I'm painting the river. More yellow color to the same mixture for plants on the water and reflections. Here I'm not going to paint the water with a bright blue color like in the photo. I want to create a nostalgic atmosphere of the late autumn. A little bit of yellow, and I'm continuing to create some reflections on the water. Some details and color to the bridge. What I'm doing now is painting the bridge railing, moving pigment away using just a wet brush without pigment on it. I put the brush in the water and wipe it with a napkin. The same technique to add some reflections on the water. Now I take a very small brush with a very tiny tip and paint some reflections with my green mixture, more cadmium red and yellow, mix of ultramarine and burnt umber for other reflections. As you can see, I'm using the same pigments with different combinations. Now I'm going to paint trees. I take my synthetic brush and mix again ultramarine blue and burnt umber with a bit of alizarin crimson. The color should be dark and the mixture should be concentrated with pigments. I start to paint the tree from the top down. I stop a little bit to slightly change the pressure on the brush. This will make my tree look more natural rather than like a column. Next trunk, I'm starting from the bottom to mark where the trunk should end, and continue to build the shape from the top again. Mixing more pigment and continuing with the next trunk. Shapes of the trees should be of different forms to look natural. I put more dark pigment. More ultramarine. And I put more dark pigment on the parts of the tree that are in the shadow, using more ultramarine blue. Using the same pigment, I paint branches with the tip of my brush. I took my smallest brush for branches. The same mixture of ultramarine blue and burnt umber for the branches. I'm making some light spots on the trees again with my almost dry, clean brush. And continue with branches, holding my brush with a relaxed hand, letting the brush dance on the paper. Now I'm making some brush strokes to create leaf arrays. Just chaotic movements with a brush. Somewhere lighter, somewhere darker. I change my brushes to make strokes of different kinds. Some more green reflections, using more yellow in the mixture. And I'm doing this using my almost dry brush. Now I'm back to finish the foreground, mixing yellow, ultramarine blue and burnt umber, a little bit of alizarin crimson. A little bit more ultramarine to the shadow parts. More shadows to the trees. Some grass. The landscape is almost ready. By using a limited color palette, the painting looks natural and atmospheric, depicting shades of autumn. And as I mentioned, you can find the full real-time video on my Patreon. The link is in my description box. Thank you for watching and for subscribing me.